a sort of victory in court. And she joins me now. Welcome to Uncensored.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm very good. I just wondered where you think you are in terms of what is going to happen in October with the sentencing. Because obviously, potentially, Sean Diddy Combs could face a significant period of time in prison. Are you anticipating that, or are you anticipating...
Salute to everybody. Everybody make your way in. Right now, we got Diddy's lawyer, one of them at least, Nicole Westmoreland, debates Piers Morgan on the Trump pardon. All right. I am going to be doing a poll. I want everybody to hit the poll. Salute Dahlia. Salute to Tina Marie. Salute to Shay. Everybody in the chat. Salute to everybody. Y'all smash that like button. Let's take a listen in, and we're going to see what's going on. And I'll even drop some links if some of y'all want to join in. We're going to see what's going on. So we're going to do it a little different day. So salute to everybody. Let's get back to that.
A more lenient sentence, or are you anticipating that President Trump may still intervene and issue a full pardon?
Well, we anticipate that on October 3rd, hopefully he'll be coming home.
Ooh.
But in terms of he wouldn't get a prison sentence at all?
We do not think that he should spend another day in jail. Not at all.
But he has been convicted of crimes. People will say, well, why shouldn't he go to jail?
Well, you know, I think that the Mann Act was not meant to cover this type of behavior, number one, and that I think you'll find out very shortly that there is no one that we've been able to locate or identify, no case where someone is in jail for the same behavior as Mr. Combs. And so that's not fair, and that's not right.
Is that actually right? That nobody that you've been able to find has ever been sent to prison for the things that he's been convicted of?
Listen, we've looked long and hard. As you know, the judge sent us on a mission to find cases, and that's due September 1st. But listen, we have not been able to locate a case where anyone is in jail for this type of behavior. And, you know, the DOJ policy manual doesn't even, you know, they say do not prosecute this type of behavior. So, no, we haven't been able to find an individual, not a single one.
In relation to the reports, I saw you on CNN yesterday saying that there had been conversations with the Trump administration. Are you able to say who those conversations were with?
No, I'm not in the weeds on that to that extent. I'm part of the trial team, and right now we're laser focused on preparing for October 3rd.
Right, but it's obviously in the remit of the President of the United States to issue a full pardon should he wish to. He's certainly given some slightly ambiguous statements, President Trump, indicating that it's not something he has completely ruled out. But he did make a point of saying that he was aware that despite their previous friendship, that Sean Combs had said some pretty negative things about Trump. I went and did some research and found what those were. In 2017, when Trump had been president in his first year of his first term, he said to the Daily Beast, to be honest, we don't really give a F about Trump because black people are in the same effed up position. And in October 2020, he told Charlemagne the God, the radio host, that white men like Trump need to be banished. And the number one priority is to get Trump out of office. He said the real way of thinking is real dangerous. This man literally threatened the lives of us and our families about going to vote. We're in a war of love versus hate. The number one priority is to get Trump out of office. You know, if you're Donald Trump, why, if you reread those comments, should you contemplate a potential pardon?
Because you want to do what's right and what's fair, and you're not going to let anything cloud those decision makings. And so, you know,
Okay, so I would say from your
You was waiting for
response,
something else. You bugging.
you are quite hopeful that he will get pardoned by Donald Trump.
Shout out to everybody on Go. We all on Go.
I think being pardoned would be the right thing to do.
Ooh,
So
it'd be the
we're
right
hopeful.
thing. The pardon would be the right thing to do. But Diddy did kind of put his foot in his own mouth, bro. With that one, remember the time when the president was running for office and he was like, oh man, we got to get him out the building. So look, now you need this man. Look at that though. Now you need old Trumpy Trump now, right? Look at that. But you was trying to cook him. You and Charlamagne the God, and y'all was trying to cook him. Now look, the man done pardoned Kodak Black, bro. And you ain't gonna get a pardon? That's dead wrong for you, Diddy. The man pardoned Kodak Black, and you know Kodak ain't care about going back to jail. He don't care. He done been back to prison since he got pardoned. Okay? Yo, you doing bad out here, Diddy. If Kodak Black got a pardon from Trumpy Trump and you ain't get one, that's nasty work, bro. But look, Trump threw back like, yo, you had some funny things to say about me, bro, and it's looking like you want me. But if he pardons Diddy, you know he's going to get a whole bunch of flack. President Trump, he's going to get mad flack for this. You know he gets flack for anything he'll get, but he's going to get flack for this. So I'm supposed to take flack for you, bro. But you was over here trying to cook me with your boy Charlamagne. You know what I mean? Bleach the skin to guard the guy over there. You know, he done lightened his skin. He light skin like me now. Bruh, he looked like dude from Blood Diamond. You know, Kimora Simmons X? The African dude, Digimon, whatever his name is? Bruh, you know Charlamagne was that. He lightened his skin, bro. So Charlamagne, work out what's going on in the inside with you, brother. Keep hope alive, you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I'm soon gonna ask you, Charlamagne, is you black? You white? You could be. I said, yeah. I'm about to ask your ass, Charlamagne. Lay off the bleaching cream, homie. Lay off the bleaching cream, homie. The bleaching breams. If you blood, lay off that, homie. Let's get back to this, though.
It would be an extraordinary thing if he is pardoned. There were many reports, as you know, before the time came for the jury verdict, that he was looking at potentially spending the rest of his life in prison. A lot of the public opinion, I think, was clouded by the horrendous video of him attacking his then girlfriend in a hotel corridor. You have spoken courageously yourself about your own experience with abuse. When you watch that video as a woman, notwithstanding the fact that you've been part of his team, what does that make you feel personally about Sean Diddy Combs in the way that he has been violent towards women?
You know, I know because I've spent a lot of time speaking with him and I've spent a lot of time with him. I know that he knows that that was wrong.
Ooh.
Bottom line, it was wrong. There are no excuses.
Ooh.
And I appreciate that he knows that. I feel very confident that nothing similar, anything like that would ever happen again. And I know that it did not take him being arrested. It did not take him being indicted. It didn't take the tape coming out for him to immediately know that he was wrong, immediately be remorseful, and immediately know that he needed some help. And so all the way back then in 2016, right after that situation, Mr. Combs checked himself in and he started getting help. And so that's what I know. And I'm happy that he started getting help and that he knew that and that he's continued to get help. And that's what I know. And that's what I appreciate, that he, you know, he was not sober. He was not sober then. And he has made a decision for himself to get his life together. And he's been doing that. And that's how, you know, that's what I know. And that's how I feel about it.
That makes sense. Let's talk to that a little bit. You know what I mean? She said that it didn't take this for him to really see his wrongs. Could be, we could kind of probably, I don't know. So I don't understand why some of these things wasn't also mentioned in Agnefilo's motion that they put out just now before the judge made his ruling. Why wasn't some of these things mentioned in that? Like, yo, listen, man, he's gonna come home. He's gonna be like advocating for like against domestic violence. He's gonna be doing this. He's gonna be doing that, and all types of things like that. Like, why was it? Because that was basically what the prosecution was saying. Like, okay, cool. Like, he's trying to get out on based on these technicalities, but how are we to say that this man is changing anyway? This is what the prosecution was saying in their motion back in their 11-page document. I read it all on the channel. On the 11-page document, that's what the prosecution was banging back with. We understand that the judge came out to say, nah, just based on the violences alone. They said based on the violence that the defense has from the opening statements, right? They owned this violence, this domestic violence. They said it so much so that if it was only this domestic violence case, we'd have just had to accept it and he'd have had to plead guilty to just domestic violence if we were dealing with just domestic violence cases here. The judge said just based on those factors alone, it doesn't prove that you're not a detriment to the community or the safety of others. And told him no bail. Told him no bail. I heard that Diddy's in there doing some of the same things, like not same things like he's been doing. Nah, some rehabilitation type things, you know what I'm saying? Supposed to be domestic violence type stuff. Maybe he's doing those things, you know what I'm saying? Maybe come home and do the same thing too as well, you know what I mean? But let's see what Nicole is saying. But what we do see is that Nicole is active. She's on a couple of platforms already now. So you can see they're probably gearing up for this sentencing, trying to put some more public opinion out here to see what's going on. Because listen, no one has spoken from Diddy's side really besides Charlucci Finney. Who's been speaking? Besides these escorts and Charlucci Finney. It was the kids ain't never spoke, the mom never speak. Nobody speaks. You feel me? So I was even surprised to see Nicole pop out. And I think she's the perfect one out of everyone to speak out. I think that based on this case alone, you know, even though she had her case from the ATL, we know that. But I know that this case alone has, skyrocketed her. It skyrocketed her as a lawyer, bro. Like I'm telling you, son, you don't really find too many lawyers and people like that you like, bro. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. It's like Cochran. Like people like Cochran because he would have this personality and stuff, right? And I think that Brian still has some of the same elements. So it shows you that it's not just a black or a white thing. Because we had a love for Brian Steele too, in a way, even with the Young Thug or whatever the case may be. And I think that, I mean, she's coming up in a direction like them. You know what I'm saying? I think that this did wonders for her whole career. She's an actual great lawyer. I got to see her cook. I got goosebumps. Look, I got to see her cook in real life, homie. Straight cheese, bro. I got her laughing. I made her laugh. I said, yo, Nicole, you know I talk to her. You know I was at the court every day. I said, Nicole, you know you cook Bonnie with the peppers and onions, right? You cooked her ass with the peppers and onions in front of all of our eyes, hibachi style. Cooked Bonner. Cooked up Dawn. Chopped her up. Bruh, I was like, who is this lady? Bruh, I learned today, bruh. This woman is a pit bull of a lawyer, bruh. Straight. Yo, straight. And when Bonner came out, I cooked her. I cooked Bonner when she came out. I got the videos on my channel, bro. I didn't post it. I said, Bonner, you know that testimony was shaky. And I did the Harlem Shake on Bonner. She got into the car with her federal escort. The federal agent laughed. Straight. The lady that was walking with Bonner to her car, nigga, laughed, nigga. She knew it was funny. And after they got in the car, I put my back to the car and was Harlem shaking because I said your shit was shaky. Yeah, Bonner, your testimony was damn shaky. And Nicole Westmoreland was a lot to do with that. Trust me. Salute to everybody. Y'all make sure y'all dropping likes. Y'all make sure that y'all are hitting the poll. Let's see what Nicole is saying, though. Let's see what she's saying. Salute to her.
A lot of people have painted a pretty dark picture of what he was like in that period. That he was, you know, we've all read about the freak-off parties. We've read about the violence, intimidation, and so on. Do you genuinely believe he's a reformed character? Some will say, you know, lepers don't change their spots, that if he gets out and doesn't have to face any jail time or be held accountable for the things he's been found guilty of, notwithstanding you saying there's no precedent for jailing somebody in that position, they will say that if you put it all together, you got a guy that behaved pretty badly, who ultimately, if he walks free, will have had no actual genuine accountability. What do you say to people that have that concern?
Well, I think that we need to break that down a little bit, because what was going on and the privacy of his bedroom with his girlfriends, consensual adults, you know, I don't think we should put that in the same category. Now, is he human? Yes. Did he make some mistakes in his life? Absolutely. Is he getting help for those mistakes? Yes. And so I think that we have to look at it, from that perspective, and not start, to say that everything
I
that
never
he
knew that
did,
part, bro. Damn.
including,
Hold up. Let me pause for a second. That's a bars right there you just dropped on me, Kay. You heard, Dom? That's crazy. I never knew that she'd been through something like this. You know what I mean? A lot of, sad to say, but a lot of people, especially a lot of women, but victimized, people that's being victimized, saying? There's no gender on it. You know what I mean? That is crazy though. I never knew that. You know what I'm saying? So, because I know outside of the court, Mama flipped on Nicole, flipped on her straight like this. Nicole had to look back like this, like, who the hell is talking like this? Like, what? She's like, yo, you dead wrong with the victims. You know you wrong, because the way she was cooking up. I think, which one of them? I think it was Mia or Bonner. One of them though. You know what I'm saying? But Mama flip, Queen's flip moms. She just straight for the victim. She don't care about nothing. You abuse a nigga, bye. She don't care, bro. She's not taking your side. So she's like, you could have did better. You know that. She was trying to cook her. And Nicole just looked at like this and got right in her car. Boop. Then, she just looked. And Mama Flip was still going in. You know what I'm saying? So, I just think Nicole, I think she's gained a lot of favor in our eyes, in a lot of people's eyes, as a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? I think, you know what I mean? So I think it's good for her to be doing this right now. For her to be the one speaking, not the Brian Steele, not nobody else. Her doing this right now. And she just got the way she's coming across right now, I think she got a real down to earth, kind of like your cousin or your aunt cousin type vibe. You know what I'm saying? And that's the kind of people you want to kind of talk your story for. You'll kind of get the people to kind of lean away or not. You know what I'm saying? You need a person kind of like that. It can't just be you the lawyer, bro. Why are we listening to you, bro? You're supposed to be saying everything for this person, right? Yes. So it's going to be other elements about you that's going to come across that's going to make us look at what you're saying and say, maybe she got a point there. You know what I'm saying? Separate, besides from her being his lawyer. That's how we want to look at this. You know what I'm saying? Because she has a job to do. And she's still on the books, bro. But one thing I will say about Nicole Westmoreland as well is that she's been active. They said that she's been really active at the MDC, popping up in and out to go see Diddy. They said she's really been active. You know what I mean? The whole time. Like, she goes and checks him. I think she just checked him like last week or so. Again, you know what I'm saying? These lawyers, you're supposed to check people. I get it. But not every time you got to be checking people. It's not that serious. You know what I'm saying? So it goes to show you, you know what I mean? People that really take their job seriously. You know what I mean? So she does check in on Diddy a lot. So we're going to hear what she got to say.
Sex with his girlfriends was something wrong. That's their bedroom.
Do you believe
do you want the federal government in your bedroom? Yeah, I was going to say,
no, absolutely not. And do you feel that the
Fed, stay your ass out my bedroom before I oil your ass up? Straight cheese.
What the trial established was that actually, despite the claims of the people who were making allegations against him, that everything actually the jury determined turned out in their eyes to be consensual. It may not be everyone's cup of tea. It might not be the kind of behavior in a bedroom that some people find acceptable, but it didn't cross the line of being criminal, and it was all consensual.
Absolutely. That's why the jury found him not guilty of sex trafficking. No force, no fraud, no coercion. Those were two grown ladies. They were his girlfriends. And, the jury saw straight through sex trafficking. So yes, it was consensual, and it was not illegal what they were doing, although that may not be what everybody's doing in their bedrooms. Totally understand that, but it was not criminal.
How significant do you think the testimony of the guy the escort who called himself the Punisher was? Because I interviewed him and I believed him. I thought he was very credible, and he certainly painted a very different picture of what had gone on to the way Cassie Ventura had described it.
You know she
He
got the
made it clear
bag,
that
bro.
in his eyes,
Got the bag,
she
bro.
was the person who organized everything, booked him, paid for it, and
Right.
seemed very happy.
He's integral, son. This woman right here is so integral to Diddy winning this case in all. I'm talking about the parts that he did beat. Okay? The parts he did beat, Rico and trafficking, bro. This woman is, bro. Brian still did his thing. Okay. Who really cooked that whole thing up? Mark came in at one time. Mark came in at the end. Garagos kicked it off. Shapiro came in with her thing at the end. Sauced them up. I get it. They all did their thing, bro. But nobody did more than this lady. Sorry, brother. Nobody, bro. Nobody. Brian still came on the first person. Cooked on him. Who was that? Flores, the officer. Was the first one. Brian still was on him. What's up? What are you talking about? Yeah. Oh, you took the videos though, right? Cooking them. Boom. Then after that, Phillips went up. The one that's on Art of Dialogue and talking with the other escort, Dave Phillips, Daniel Phillips. Yeah, he went up next. And then it was Cassie. Boom, the third person. But every other person, there's really women that went up, right? Except for Cassie's homeboy, Deontay Nash, right? And he was funny as hell in the court. You know what I mean? I hooked up with, I told her get up with what he said, Michael B. Jordan or some shit. They look good, she look good, they look good. I'm trying to put together. Deontay's funny as hell. But yo, it's really women, right? So when it came to the women, they put her on it. She was on the women, bro, like this. What's up? Let's talk about this. What's up? She was on the women, bro, straight. I think Brian went at me a little bit too, right? I think that's when he was being kind of, I think they was being insensitive. They said he was like being very, very like brute. I know Mama Flip came outside. She was tight. You know what I'm saying? She corrected me and tell me, yo, listen. I'm like, damn, Mama Flip, what happened? You know, I always go ask her, what the hell happened today? You know what I'm saying? Straight. And she was tight about that too. She do not be playing no games with the victims on me. Straight. Shout out to Mama Flip, man. Straight. You know what I mean? But you need people like that too, man. You know what I'm saying? People that's going to say, yo, man, I don't care, bro. I'm straight for the victim. But at least be who you are. Say that then. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to toggle the fence, bro. No, if you that person, you like, nah, I'm siding with victims. I'm not siding with no predator, abuser, none of that. Don't care what you did. So what? Then stand on your 10 and do that. You know what I'm saying? Stand on your 10 and do that. So, straight. So, I can't knock that.
About everything, thoroughly enjoyed all their encounters over, I think, a 2-year period. I felt he was both in the court, but also in subsequent interviews, a pretty powerful advocate for your defense.
Agreed. You know, I'll tell you, I really do not know why the government called him, but glad they did. So agree. I think he was powerful, and I think he said a lot. Yeah.
I mean, the irony is he was called for the prosecution, and yet he turned out to be a powerful weapon for you guys.
Agreed.
How is Sean Diddy Combs in himself now? He's been in prison for a sustained period of time. He's not been with his family. He's got a lot of kids. You know, how would you characterize his state of mind?
Wow, this is definitely the hardest situation he's ever been through in his life. You know, I think that he's trying to stay positive. He is trying to continue to fight. He's trying to be a father from jail, which is very hard and very complicated. And so, you know, I think that he's doing a lot of thinking, and he's continuing to work on himself, and, you know, he's still trying to be a parent and, you know, just get his life together. But this is definitely, this is the hardest thing he's been through in his life. And I think that he's taking it a day at a time.
Were you surprised that a federal judge on Monday denied the motion to allow him to be released on bail? The prosecutors argued he was a flight risk and a danger. The judge said that you guys had failed to show sufficient evidence to counter the argument that he's a flight risk. But on the danger point, there was a letter from his ex-girlfriend, Virginia Quinn, to the judge, urging his release, saying he didn't represent a danger. Were you surprised, given all that he wasn't allowed out?
You know, I think that the judge made his decision. You know, what I really take issue with is the prosecution. I take issue with the prosecution bringing this case in the first place. So I think the judge, you know, made whatever decision that he felt like he needed to. But I think that the real issue is the prosecution having this type of discretion and being able to engage in selective prosecution and targeted prosecution and you know, to have that type of power. I think that's the real issue.
I just want to play again. This is the actual clip of Donald Trump talking about the possibility of a pardon.
You know, I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great, and seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well, but when I ran for office, he was very hostile. He made some terrible statements. So I don't know. It's more difficult. It makes it more. I'm being honest. It makes it more difficult to do.
But more likely a no for Combs.
I would say so.
Okay.
Finally, what is your message to Donald Trump if he's watching this?
To look at the case and make his decisions from there. I think that pardon him would be the right thing to do, given the history of the Mann Act. You know, if I'm not mistaken, President Trump pardoned Jack Johnson, and the Mann Act was used against him. And so, you know, if he has the opportunity to look through the case and make his decisions from there. I think looking through the case and the history of the Mann Act and where we are now, and that this type of behavior, you know, is not being prosecuted. It's not. Mr. Combs was prosecuted because he's Sean Puffy Combs, and that's just not right, and it's not fair, and he does not deserve to be where he is right now because of the Mann Act. He just doesn't deserve that, and so we just like fairness. We like fairness, and I'm hopeful that, you know, at the end of the day, that a fair outcome will come from this, and that somehow this will turn itself around to be something positive.
Nicole Westmoreland, I really appreciate you coming on Uncensored. It was a very interesting interview. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sentencing on October the 3rd. What is the likely sentence?
Well, I don't think Trump should issue a pardon because pardons are an extraordinary remedy. However, if Trump thinks he can get something out of the pardon, he will certainly issue it if he thinks he can get something. But and I've got a pardon over my shoulder, that one of 17 that right over there. See that? That's one of 17 that Bush issued. He hardly issued any pardons. It's an extraordinary remedy. Now, I think this judge has kind of foretold what's going to happen here, because I think he's going to get a guideline sentence somewhere around 50 months, 50 to 60 months, somewhere in there. That's my guess. And he's already served basically half of that. But the judge is also going to consider some relevant conduct that was acquitted, and the judge can do that in this case. Now, I heard
Telling y'all that, bro. Even though you're acquitted of certain things, the thing that you've been alleged against you, that's been alleged against you, they can use those things to levy harsher sentences and the guidelines, bro. You know what I mean? So just because you've been acquitted of things, because remember, we could see that because the judge also brought back some of those things in his letter back to the motion when he threw out the bail and he said there's no bail. He said, listen to me, though. When you talk about the abuse, the coercion, certain tactics and certain things that, you know what I mean, the prosecution alleged, he got to see it from that lens too. He got to look that way. Come on, remember, some of these things he's been acquitted of, right? He's only been convicted of destitution. So why are we still talking about the coercion and all these other tactics? Because these are the things that was alleged in the case. You know what I mean? The violences and all those things. They could bring up the violences too. All this violence and all this stuff that, look what he was doing. This man's a threat. So that's what it's about, man. So it's crazy, man.
heard the defense.
Everybody hit the poll. Y'all got to like y'all.
Was pretty masterful in what they did. It's a pretty good
Welcome to
result
On. Go
because
subscribe right now.
the
if you haven't.
government wins most of these cases. But one of the things that she said is that on the pardon issue, well, we've looked for all kinds of cases. We've never seen a Mann Act like this ever charged out. Well, wait a second. Have you ever seen a Mann Act case with all this other relevant conduct? I bet you didn't. With thousands of bottles of baby oil, with all this other stuff going on, with all the abuse and stuff. So there's a lot more to consider than just the Mann Act by itself.
Mark Eiglash, it's interesting to me because I do think the court of public opinion convicted Diddy based on the hotel corridor violent video long before they got to the actual trial for which he was facing these other charges. But in the end, the jury were not swayed by that video. They saw it, but they accepted, I think, the argument that it was not relevant to what he was charged with. What do you feel about that? I mean, do you feel that the public would tolerate a pardon from Trump, given that video that everybody saw and was horrified by? Or do you feel that they would also make the calculation the jury did, that that had nothing to do with the case, and actually the case seemed to establish that everything that went on with these women who were accusing Diddy of wrongdoing, it was all consensual?
Okay, a lot in your question. First, they would probably be upset with Trump using his cherished pardons on someone like this. You just saw the interview with Trump. He said, well, he was nice to me at first and he wasn't nice to me. When is that a criteria? Shouldn't it be the case and what this guy did? Maybe if he's nice to you later, now you're going to give a pardon? That's not what pardons should be about. Secondly, the court of public opinion is very different than the court of law. The court of public opinion is free to have very strong feelings about what Diddy did. We saw from that video, that is proof beyond all doubt that he was abusive towards women. The other counts, while not necessarily proven, still showed the public that he was a monster and his behavior was abhorrent. It's entirely different whether the government could prove, and they could not, the very, very challenging RICO charge typically applied to the mafia, right? Not necessarily the Al Capones of the lube world. This was a very challenging case, and it doesn't mean that Diddy didn't do it.
It doesn't. But Eric Gardner, like I said to Nicole Westmoreland, when I interviewed the guy, I can't remember his actual name, but the Punisher, which is his working name, is a male escort, I did find him extremely credible. And he did paint a very different picture to the one that Cassie Ventura was trying to paint. Which was that in his estimation, everything had been completely consensual. I did feel if I'd been on that jury, hearing that guy talk about the dozen or so times he'd met up, that Diddy just sat in the corner watching as she very willingly, having booked him and paid for him, willingly engaged in sexual activity with him, and that they carried on for 2 years doing this quite happily, I think that would have been a very persuasive argument to me that this was not the way it was being portrayed. What do you think?
Well, I think that, the jury didn't necessarily declare Diddy innocent. What they did was that they declared that the prosecutors just had not made the case. And, there was a lot of criticism in the legal community because prosecutors were very aggressive on this. They overcharged Diddy stuff with trafficking and all that. So
Everybody hit the poll. Everybody smash the like. Salute to everybody in the building. You already know.
But I don't think that you can read the verdict as a declaration that it was all consensual. I think that there's room for interpretation.
And just to be clear, right, when Nicole Westmoreland said they could find no other example of anyone who'd been convicted of the charges that he was convicted of in terms of effectively prostitution across state lines, they couldn't find any evidence of anyone being sent to prison for that. Is that your understanding?
Well, I haven't researched that crime, but from my understanding of what she said, she was basically saying for his types of acts. So I don't know whether there's stuff that has ever been charged on freak offs and stuff like that, and exactly she was referring to. But I do know that people have been sentenced for the Mann Act before. She herself referenced a famous example in the boxer Jack Johnson, who was pardoned So I also think that the judge is very conscious of the fact that he was charged with more crimes. He doesn't seem to be particularly aggrieving about what happened. And the fact is that it will be a deterrence effect to sentence him to jail time. The message sent to the community about this. So I do expect there to be a fairly harsh sentence here.
And what do you think that could be?
A few years. I don't think that he'll get the maximum 20, but I definitely think he'll see some jail time.
Really interesting. And just on that one point, Bruce Rivers, on that one point, what are you anticipating?
I bet he gets somewhere between 50 and 60 months. But I do take issue with two words that you just used, quite happily. I think Cassie was in this to get something from Diddy, clearly, but I don't think she did everything quite happily. I think if she didn't obey, there were consequences. And we see that in the video. So, and then those are the things that the judge is going to take into account when he issues the sentence.
Yeah, Piers, this case can't plausibly be analogized to what the attorney was talking about. Those in a vacuum where somebody hires a prostitute and they come across state lines, that's one thing. But in federal court, a judge can legally and should consider all the relevant facts and circumstances surrounding the offense. The judge sat through weeks of testimony and learned a lot more about what Diddy did and how it pertained to the Mann Act charges for which he was convicted. He has every right to consider that when sentencing him.
What do you think the sentence will be?
A guideline sentence. Now, the answer is, what is the guidelines?
They pushing the guideline sentence. I mean, like, yo, he gonna get a guideline sentence, bro. Listen to me, man. The guidelines basically, because he have 2 counts right now. I told you a couple of cases. One case where one guy had one of those counts, he received like 30 months. So then around for the 2 counts, 50 something to 60 months would be basically standard. That's standard. That's not what the prosecution's really pushing for. Okay. The prosecution is pushing for upwards of 70 months, like 80 months. They're trying to push towards the latter part of the sentence guideline. They're trying to push towards the 10. That's where they're pushing. Feel me? Will the judge go all the way to the 10 on each count, especially? Will he do this? Will he meet them in the middle? Pause, but will he meet them in the middle because the defense was trying to get 20-something months, like 2 years or so? He might say, get out of here with your 2 years. You know what I mean? Hold this. You see that the judge take this case seriously, man. On his response to their motion that they just filed, you see how serious that the judge is looking at this. Okay, we know that he's been denied bail. If they're gonna give you some light time, why are they dragging you out, not giving you a bail? If they're gonna give you something that's like 2 years or so, you see what I'm saying? That's why for me, I see him probably getting like a 4 years or maybe a 5. You already got a year in. 10 months in jail is a year. Remember, you do 85% of your time. 1 year, 85% sounds like about 10 months. So that's already a year he got in the book already. He got a year and a month or something like that, right? Year and 2 months, I think. It's like it's a year and 2 months. You feel me? So, and based on that, he has a year in. It's another thing that the judge is going to think about because, yeah, he was in there for a year, right? But I want to make sure the sentence that I give him is the sentence that I'm giving him beyond what the year that you've been in is going to go to your credit. But I'm going to give you a sentence that no matter the year that you're in there already, I want to make sure this is feasible for everybody, the family, victims, or whatever the case may be, because there are victims in this case, whether you want to think they're not. But I was watching CNN. I think CNN on Court TV, like yesterday or so, right? I think day before yesterday, actually. And one of the guys there, he was asking a question to like to another anchor or something. And he said, all right, Diddy's convicted of the tuition, right? He's convicted of tuition, traveling interstate commerce with the tuition, whatever. So who's the toots? And it was like this. It was just like this. But a couple of people was on the panel, just like this. And everybody was speaking around it, but no one really answered that question. So I'm like, why is nobody answering this? Then I'm really thinking about it like, And that's my question to y'all, right? Diddy's convicted of tuition. So who's the toots? Who's the toots? Is his ex-girlfriend, his shorty, his slip and slide Jane? Is that the toot? No, that's not toots, right? They're not toots. And then the dancers never called themselves toots. They don't consider themselves to be toots. And the women never called them toots. And Diddy's the trick and the cuck. So how can he be the toot? It's either all of them is toots or what? I don't know. Are they all toots? It's a good question, bro. And everybody on the panel was like this, walking around it, talking around it, and did not answer the question solely to say the women, or I believe the men, or I believe whatever, Diddy, whatever. They did not answer. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. So think about that, though. Think about who's the toots in this case.
Defense is arguing it's somewhere in the 2-year range. The prosecution's arguing it's somewhere in the 5 to 6 range. So the first thing that's going to happen in federal court is the judge is going to determine where does he fall within the guidelines. Prosecution, I think, is asking for a higher sentence because there were allegedly 8 victims. Good luck proving that. So that's the first thing. What are the guidelines? And I think he'll get a guideline sentence from the judge.
So that's about 5.
And if you were a betting man, what do you think will end up being the sentence?
About 5.
Probably 2
4.
to 3 years, somewhere in there, within the guidelines that the defense is representing.
Ooh.
Interesting. Okay, let's turn to Candace Owens against
3
the
years?
Macrons,
Hold on,
which
wait,
is
though.
a fascinating.
How you gonna get 3 years though, bro? Think about this. Diddy already in there for a year, right? Think about this, bro. He got 2 counts. So whatever he gives him for the first one, he has to give him the identical time for the next one, bro. So what are you gonna give him? A year and a half and a year and a half on each one so he can have 3 years? Shit sounds weird to me, bro. Federal court, bro. Niggas ain't in the business of getting, 2 years and no feds, bro. You wiggled your ass up out the building with 2 years. If you was in any federal court for anything, bro, and you got him out of there with 2 years, bro, you know you got away with everything, bro. You know that. You got me? Forget Olivia Pope. You the hell, you know what I mean? Straight, bro. You got away with it. Feel me? So think about this. They're identical counts. What am I going to give you? The least I can see the judge saying is this, son. Let's be honest with each other, y'all. The least I can say is this. All right, man. You been in here. You ain't got no real record, but you was wilding and all that. I'm going to give you 2 years on each count. Bang. He could say run them consecutively, right? To make sure you do 85% of 2 years and then you do 85% of the other 2 years. So he basically got damn near the 4 years about your ass. You see what I'm saying? And you got a year in, so you're going to get the 2 years basically about you. Because you got a year in, right? You can do that. Things up. Or he could say, you know what I mean? 2.5, 2.5. You already got a year in. So I'm going to give you the 2.5 because I'm really giving you the 4, but you got a year in. So I don't want that year in to be the. So take away from that. So you still got the 4, homie. You got 4. He can do that. He can do that. And then that's also higher than what the defense wants, but also lower than what the prosecution wants. And then you're right there. You know what I'm saying? Right in that range right there. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Because the judge may want to be fair. And at the end of the day, whether you think the prosecution lost their case, but they did blunder this whole case, but I'm saying they still are winners. And you reward a winner, bro. You don't make a winner feel like a loser. No. And the judge works for who? Last time I checked, the same people that man that points his finger like this on your taxes? Exactly, bro. The judge works for them too. Let's be honest here. What are you talking about? You see what I'm saying? And there's no case like this case. So this is going to set the standard and the precedent of how a case like this is being charged if there ever is another case like this in the near future or whenever it is. So the time that is given out on this case is going to be the standard. Because remember, it was all old cases really that the Mann Act was dealing with. You know what I mean? And it needs an update. The Mann Act needs an update. You know what I mean? It really does. It really does. Yeah, uncle. I'm talking about our uncle over there. Yeah. You know, I don't like to say his name. I just said homeboy. You know what I'm saying? Certain people, like our homeboy like this, I don't say his name. I just say our homeboy, bro. Or I might say Martin, but I don't say all that other stuff. I leave it be. You gotta, you know what I mean? Give them the water. Don't get them the wine, homie. You know what I'm saying? Can't mix it up. Don't mix your water with your wine, homie.
Fascinating case. I can't really remember any world leader taking on a podcaster in this way. However, Mark, it's an interesting case. Let's watch a little clip from my interview with Candace. It's been blowing up online from Monday. Let's take a look at this. As you say, in a defamation case, it ultimately comes down.
Sevens in the chat if you
truth
believe in
mattering.
God and
And
Jesus.
it
You
seems
heard
to me
all the
this whole
time.
case
Sevens
is
in
going
that
to be
chat. Salute to
resolved
y'all in that
in a
chat.
very
Tina, y'all see
straightforward
it.
way, because the obvious way to prove that you're wrong and have been systematically lying about it, if you've been doing it deliberately or otherwise, but telling a lie about her, which has obviously caused an enormous amount of hurt, is if they just produce evidence she's a woman. Do you accept if they do that, your whole case disintegrates?
Of course it would disintegrate. Well, first off, no, they would have to prove the actual malice standard in America, which would mean that we knowingly knew this. We went to them with questions and they refused to answer. That is very strange.
She's not right.
Mark,
she's only half right. She's
Okay.
half right. She's
Okay,
half right. And
explain
you also,
why.
okay, let me explain everything. Okay. In the court of public opinion, she loses if somehow she's proven to be wrong. Correct. But in a court of law where she's being sued, there has to be proven actual malice, half of which she just talked about. If she knew what she was saying was false, she is screwed. However, there's another part to that. Actual malice is either you knew it to be false when you said it and wrote about it, or it was a reckless disregard of the truth. That's probably where, if she's held responsible at all, and I don't know that she will be, that she could be held accountable. She's going to rely upon Xavier Poussard's book, Becoming Brigitte, or Bridget, whatever they're calling it. She relied upon that book. So in her mind, if she believed it to be true, even if it's false, she will survive this lawsuit.
That's very interesting. And Bruce, there was a thing that got picked up online after I interviewed her, where people said you should have challenged her about why the Macrons aren't suing the journalists. Apparently in France, the statute of limitations for defamation is 3 months for proceeding for defamation and insult, running on the date of the first publication or posting, and Becoming Brigitte by Xavier Poussard was published in February 2025. So it's a very, very narrow period of time where you can take this.
Well, here's the thing. If that was the case, the Sandy Hook family couldn't have gone after Mr. Jones, right? And what we have here is just a black female Alex Jones. I mean, that's really what she is. Bomb thrower. Let's like conspiracy theory. It's just ridiculous. She knows she's not a man. I mean, that's the other part of this that I think is kind of lost, because when you have somebody in the public opinion and it's calling her a man is really comical in a sense. And so comedians can get away with that kind of stuff, right? But she's going on and on and on and on about it, and people are starting to buy it. And so, once you cross that threshold, I think the malice and the reckless disregard that Mark talked about is something that can't be ignored. So honestly, if I were them, I would dismiss her as, whatever. But I don't know that I would have made fun of her. That's, you've seen Obama do that kind of stuff where he bats things away with humor. And I would have probably tried to combat it that way. But, she's going to have to sleep in the bed she made. So she may have some risk here.
Yeah, I mean, Eric, I think she's going to lose, because I think the Macrons are finally probably going to just simply reveal the results of a sex test. I mean, that seems to me the most obvious way to emphatically deny this whole, in my view, preposterous narrative that Brigitte Macron is male. She's had 3 kids, for goodness sake. But I think if they were to provide definitive evidence via a sex test that she's a woman, then whatever Candace says about malice.
Down, slow it down. Where the fuck is my mic? Oh. Salute to that. Salute to y'all, man. Is Diddy gonna get sprung up out the John? We gotta figure this out, bruh. We gotta figure this out. We most definitely got to figure this on out. But shout out to Nicole Westmoreland. Like I said, she did a thing. She did a thing on these interviews, a couple of conversations. She had one with my girl that be on CNN. And that conversation was a short one. Short conversation. She got into a little 1-2 steps in it. But this one she got into a little bit more. And yeah, you know what I mean? I think she got like a homely feel to her, you know what I'm saying? So it's not just like a lawyer, She's speaking like a person that actually speaks to him and know him. And they said that she's always at the jail. You know what I'm saying? So you can see that she's spending a lot of time with Diddy. So she knows him off, you know what I mean? Away from all of this as well. You know what I mean? So yeah, let's see what it looked like though, man. We already know, man. Sentencing is coming up October 3rd. Shout out to that. It's my mom's birthday. Gangster. Diddy's mom became my grandmom, and his sentencing is on my mom's birthday, which is crazy. Yeah, we're gonna see what's going on. But yeah, stay active. Y'all get in the chat. Y'all make sure y'all checking my upload sections. I'm gonna be doing a lot of uploads in my upload section. You know what I mean? I really like doing lives. Really, I like live. I don't like scripting things. I just like to do things just live. I just pick a title and I just go. That's me personally. You know what I mean? I think I get the best out of my vibe. You know what I mean? I can script it, but I ain't with all that. But yeah, make sure y'all subscribe and make sure y'all turn on the notification bells to all. If you're not getting my notifications, better just unsubscribe, subscribe back, and put this on all. Because this is what I'm telling you. A lot of people hit me all day. We're not getting your notifications. Uda, I already know because YouTube want to limit it. It's all good, homie. It's all good. It's okay, bro. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, we outside. We outside, Leah. That's a fact. So I need all my people stay active. OOTAONGO on Cash App, all that. Yeah, you know what I mean? I got to make a PayPal. They still make a PayPal. I don't really be chasing shit, bro. I really don't. But I'll try. Like I told the last time, I'll try. I'll try to create a PayPal too as well, though. But yeah, man. Like, subscribe, comment, share, all of the good things. That's what I love. You know what I mean? That's what matters the most to me. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to the whole Go gang. I'm about to do another live in a couple minutes. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do a live though. This one's a screen share. I got a couple of screen shares to do. I got one about lethal injection or some shit like that as well to do, which is a crazy one. A couple of uploads. That's what I'm saying. Always come back and check on all the uploads. Comment on them too. Whatever. Run down commenting on shit. No matter. Comment, like, and comment. I don't give a fuck. Even if you watch the whole shit or not. Comment, like. Yeah, I got a couple of things to do, but what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go in 420, right? I'm a 420, plus I want to be outside too. So I'm gonna go outside at 420, and while I'm 420ing, I'm gonna do a live. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna grab a couple of topics right now. There's a couple of things that's going on around this. It's a lot of crime going on, a lot of court cases going on right now, big cases going on as well. No jumper situations as well. Jay Reed is suing WAC 100 allegedly, at least Adam 22. I don't know if WAC 100, I think allegedly is being sued too. I don't know if anything is going to be filed criminally towards a loose cannon. I don't know if you know these people that I'm mentioning, but this is some stuff that's in the LA sectors, the no jumper sector of the world. It's where a lot with my channel at first it started, even though I'm from New York. I've also lived in LA a little while, but that's where my channel was at first. So shout out to LA, shout out to the whole West Coast. You know what I mean? Those was the first like 1,000 or so. Like my channel monetized. This channel monetized in 3 weeks. God, all praise due to God. But a lot of those people were from the West Coast. I didn't tell nobody about my channel. So I didn't have no friends. I have other channels that I could have, subscribe to this. I didn't do none of that for this channel. God said, don't do none of that. He said, look, I'm going to just don't tell nobody about it. I only told my older brother, and I was wrong for doing that. I'm tight that I even told that nigga, period. I wasn't supposed to tell nobody. That's what God told me. You see what I'm saying? And everybody found my channel. Mad people that I know, people I ain't seen me in years, found it. Oh, shit, yo, Udio's another. Look at that. So you ain't got to chase nothing, bro. Chase God and chase Jesus, homie. Straight. Don't chase nothing, man. Chase your God and chase your Jesus, bro. Trust me when I'm telling you, man. God and Jesus is great. Tell God he's great today. If you have not told God he's great, tell him now. That's why I say drop 7. So every time you drop into 7, bro, you saying it with me. You saying it with me. We keep that energy going on. No matter if we want to run down and Ricky something right now, nigga, so what? We keep the spirit of God always with us. He made the realest from our mission to say, bro, you don't need to be doing that right now. So that's how come we got to keep him in the mission. We got to keep him in the whip with us. Even if we on a Ricky, got to keep Most High God with us all the time, bro. Anybody who's not doing that is a damn devil. Get out of here, bro. Straight. Or you got something to hide? Bro, you got something to hide, bro. Come on, bro. You got something to hide, bro. Come on, bro. And nobody's perfect. Learn this today. Ain't none of us perfect. What I will be going through here, though, you see, I started the preface. I did one video, Christian women versus New Age women. I'm going to be going into a lot of this. I'm going to be going into us as women and men. I'm about to be going into the relationship world. Saddle up, King. Riz Galt. Yes, the Riz Gardinator, me. course. We're going to talk about some women and some men, and we're going to talk about building. I'm going to have some of y'all ladies on the chat, beautiful ladies, all my sisters on the chat with me, beautiful, real people, kings on the chat with us. Yeah, and we're going to have these conversations and get to that. We need to get to this. Us talking don't matter, even if we want to argue about the shit. So what? We need to have the conversations. Don't matter, all right? Because a lot of people online, the Kevin Samuels, he RIP to him, but kick rocks, homie, straight. That's how Uda giving it up. Don't care. Because you came to come break down people. Yeah. And you came to separate us from our women, which end up in turn separating us from our children, bro. You don't understand. That's all these arguments and all this shit. That's all it does, man. You gonna submit to me. You gonna bow down to the master and all this other shit. Man, that shit is weird, bro. Shit is weird, bro. People submit to what the fuck they want to submit when they feel stable, secured, and all of that, bro. You don't even have to ask a person to do that type shit. They'll do it. They'll do it. All right. But us as men, we got to be leaders. Straight, son. Feel me? I've had relationships and all that. Probably led that shit to fucking hell. You know what I mean? Come on, bro. We got to be leaders, bro. You got to be leaders, bro. Straight. And like I'm saying to all the men learning from this Diddy case, like I said, bro, we came up with a slogan here on Go. It's called, before you hit her, hit the door, nigga. It's the only thing you need to be hitting, nigga, is a door. Hit the door, bounce, come back on another time. You probably wouldn't come back with that same trajectory. Hit the door, homie. That's what we're doing here, okay? And if you was violent in a time, 1 time is enough. If you did it even once, and I'm guilty of it too. Yeah, me too. Yeah, do you think I'm innocent of all this? No. Yes, but 2, even once, you're guilty. Don't matter. And everybody who think they ain't physically violent is abusing people mentally and psychologically and all type of other shit, talking about they ain't hitting people. So wake up. Wake up, okay? But we're not holding on to none of that shit. You know what I'm saying to you? And this is what's going to start bringing us back together. And this is going to get our world back. Feel me? And we might start getting our children back, man. You feel me, son? Straight, son. This is what it's all about. This is what it's all about, bro. Feel me? So don't feel, damn, son, you can't speak up about it and all that. We have to speak. People that's been victimized and all that, we kind of get them. We trying to coax them to start speaking up. People that's been through some stuff don't make you just a wrong person, bro. Yeah, you probably was wrong at that time, but you got to be able to speak about it to understand that you're not on that mission. And sometimes we got to talk about things so that we can be held to a standard. No mysterious standard. You know, you've spoken about it. I told you, I used to sell D rugs and all that shit, bro. I'm not trying to do that shit no more, bro. The fuck don't matter. You mad that you don't like drug dealers? Well, I was doing it. What the fuck you want me to do? You know what I'm saying? I'm not better than that, you know what I mean? But that's how we got to do it. So we can't hold on to nothing, bro. If I was holding anything I was holding on to, I was hiding. I end up lying. I'm going back to it. Come on, bro. I was cheating. I wasn't talking about it, acting like I was still going to see shorty, bro. You got to be, bro. We got to talk about this shit, bro. We have to talk about things, bro. This is what we learning from this Diddy shit. Not just everything we learned from Diddy. No, bro. Us as men, especially these colored men, chocolate face ones, we don't need to be doing that shit, bro. We don't need to be doing that shit. We gonna make that shit nigga. This chocolate face man do not hit women. You dumb? We don't do that. Nigga, we looking at you like you crazy. No, we don't do that, bro. We don't do that, brother. You know what I'm saying? Let's get to that. I like how that sounds. You know what I'm saying? And we could do that, bro. Because back in the days, certain days, wasn't my days, but I know back in the days, like my pops them days, you know what I mean? Older man coming to, yo, bro, what you doing with that lady, man? What's up with you, man? They're gonna pull you up, bro. And then you had to listen, bro. You had to listen. Right now, you talk to a young guy right now about his shorty son, he probably boom you out of existence. He probably King Von you, bro. Right now, run down on you like you was from 63rd. Right now, bro. A young guy, you trying to tell him something. Like, bro, come on, son. You know what I mean? Son, just chill, son. If you're saying that, let her just get it. You know what I mean? You know you got it. He probably boom you, bro. So we can't talk to each other as men. That shit is toxic as hell, bro. It's toxic as hell. You know what I'm saying? Toxic as hell, bro. So we need to figure this shit the fuck on out, bro. Okay? This is what we need to do. Straight. Hey, Corvette. This is what we need to do, though. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's perfect. Like I said, man. You know what I'm saying? No one's perfect, bro. No one's perfect. We're not judging nobody here. I don't judge you on Go, man. The fuck? I don't judge you, bro. Be who you want to be. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to help each other to be what we need to be. And that's what it's about. You know what I mean? That's what it's about, man. So, like I said, man, believe in God and Jesus today, man. Never fail you. Never fail you. He told me straight up, I have 10 other YouTube channels, monetize shits and all that. Listen to me. He said, start this channel. call it OOTAONGO. You're going to be doing it like this. You're going to be on go. You're going to be doing it like that. I'm like, all right, cool. He said, look, I'm going to monetize it fast, bro. Boom. You're going to get to 5. From 5, you're going to jump from 10 to 20. That's what he told me. And he told me some other mission. I've been speaking about those parts on my channel already. I'm going to let that part happen, and then I'll talk about that part too. So I like God to work, and then I come back and work and talk. You know what I mean? I'm not going to talk the whole mission with God on, but God's on a mission, bro. He did this, bro. He did this. 8 months. I didn't lap past people, bro. 8 months, bro. God did that. God did that. This shit done passed my other channel. God did that, bro. What are you talking about, bro? He did that. He did that. Imagine if I, listen, and I derailed from my mission too. You know that, right? God derailed me in a way, because remember, I was going there to be on straight journalism. I was coming to take the news people spot. You know that I was going there, right? No jokey shit. I wasn't going there to joke, you know. I ain't coming down that motherfucking try to joke, son. On Jesus Christ, now I caught a body outside that fucking court. I didn't go there to joke, son. Not joking. So somehow, some way, God got me to joke and chill. Imagine that. And that's one of the greatest things that happened, bro. Because I was able to just be me. And you know what I'm saying? And people just rocked, and we was rocking, and I was just bringing the energy to people, and it was just love, son. And I couldn't plan for that, bro. I could never have planned for that, bro. Straight, son. Being out there, I grew as a person, bro. Straight, bro. Even though I'm a good person, I think that's just me over there. I'm not saying I'm just a good person, but I'm just saying I feel I'm a good person in my heart. You know what I mean? And I'm being genuine in the love that I'm showing to people. You know what I'm saying? But I learned, bro. I learned. And I learned that, you know, we got to push against violence, and I got to be one of the advocates against it. You know what I mean? I have to be an advocate against domestic violence. Straight. You know what I mean? My mother was a victim of domestic violence. Okay. So much so that it traumatized me to the point that I realized to dislike my pops in a way. You know what I mean? And it's crazy that I came to do that shit, same shit that he did. So what the fuck was I hating that whole time? Imagine that. Imagine I had a hate, like a sort of a hatred in my heart. I don't hate nobody on earth, not even my own father. I'm just saying. But you have this kind of like a vendetta against a person. My shit done? Okay, cool. And then you have a vendetta against a person, and then you'll come to do the same shit, bro. Come on, bro. You know what's the saddest thing about that, bro? If you're a man, son, and you ever been physically violent to your shorty or whatever the case may be, listen what the saddest part after I did it one time. Listen. The saddest part was this. You know, I'm a very protective man. I'm very protective. I will blow a nigga fucking kufi off for mines. So I get it. The women that I deal with, they know this, right? And they know that I will go to the 10th level for them. I get that. But imagine when I'm being violent, whether you drunk or not, whether the fuck you is, being violent, right? Imagine that person, the woman we're talking about, right? Put yourself in the shoes. Imagine that woman right there who you supposed to be the one to protect. You hear me? You're the one that's being abusive. Remember, you're a guy like me, right? So you're going to probably go a nigga if he try to violate this. You already know what's going on. You done put hands and feet on niggas behind shorty already. You already know that you will, right? So who's supposed to put, you already protecting them from anybody else. But this was the question that struck my brain, bro. Who was supposed to protect that woman from you? Me, the man. Who's going to protect her from you, though? She has no protection, bro. Do you see what I'm saying? So you're over here protecting her from everybody else, and she feels safe enough that you would do something for her if anybody try to play with her, play with her body, yeah. But who the fuck is going to save her from you? That's the scary one, bro. You see what I'm saying? That's the scary one, bro. So if you've been violent before, try not to do it anymore. If we need to seek some therapy, therapy's not bad, bro. Being from our hood and from our where we from, like, nigga, you ain't crazy. So one time I went to go to therapy, like, nigga, you ain't crazy, you mad smart. Fuck off, nigga, you stupid. What? That don't mean that you can be smart and go to therapy. Don't matter, bro. Sometimes you need people to talk to. Sometimes you need to, I mean, we come from a line of people that just need to be strong. Our grandmothers, our mothers, our pops, everybody want to be super strong and hold everything in their chest and their bag. And your moms was saving up the beatings 3 weeks in a row until you really wild out and then coofed you. Come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? So we always holding in some shit, bro. We just holding in a lot. We need to let this shit go. Okay? And women want us to be leaders, bro. They want us to be leaders, bro. If we leading, they gonna rock and they gonna follow, bro. It's just simple mathematics. Anybody's gonna follow if you really leading right. Man, woman, everybody. You dumb? Anybody like this following. Yo, what's up? You got the map? You MacGyver? Come on, let's follow this nigga. What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about, bro? That'll speak for itself, right? So this is what it's about, man. This is what it's about, son. You feel me? Straight. And that's what God showed me. And I'm going to lift my voice against domestic violence. I'm going to lift my voice against violence, period. Not just to women, towards anyone, bro. Because we got men on men in relationship, women on women in relationship, men and women, all types of shit. All kind of people in relationships, bro. But like I said, before you hit that person that you with, hit the damn door, homie. I created the slogan, homie. It's it, bro. It never works out right, especially if you have kids, psychological traumas, long-lasting physical scars may fade, but the psychological traumas are long-lasting, even years long, maybe lifetimes. Right? Right? Okay. So what Diddy needs to do is come out and be an advocate in some damn way. That's what the hell he needs to damn do. Straight. What the fuck he needs to do. Straight. Okay? That's what Diddy has need to do. He need to come out and be an advocate, bro. Not just for himself. Not just because there's victims. Because that man got 4 daughters. And that is not the last image that you want to be leaving on your daughters. You hear what I'm saying? That you was over here oiling up the whole damn world on this weirdo stuff. No, homie. Being mad, abusive, violent towards women. Because if anybody on this earth did some of those things that he called his life to any one of his daughters, Diddy will be wearing that jumpsuit and being happily in jail and probably not even fighting the damn charges. He'd be sitting down doing life because that's how much Diddy loves his damn kids. Point blank, period. Okay? Okay? So let us just understand that part. Let us understand that part. Okay? Straight. Shout out to Diddy daughters, man. Shout out to them. You know what I mean? Some strong girls, man. It took a lot for them to be in that courtroom listening to some of that testimony. They left at a time, came back, whatever the case may be. They stayed through Cassie's. So shout out to them girls, man. Strong girls, man. Take a lot to hear stuff like that about your father, bro. You see what I'm saying? It takes a lot, bro. It takes a lot. But they stood by their pop side, man. So shout out to them girls, man. Straight, bro. Nothing bad to say about them. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got nothing sad to say about the kids anyway. I'm just saying. They're kids to me. Straight, bro. I'm just saying, though. The daughters? Come on, bro. Come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? Come on, bro. That shit ain't it, bro. You got to be good to people, son. That's what people remember in the end, bro. People that was good to them. You remember people who's bad to you, too, bro. That's who you remember, bro. Who was bad to you. And one thing you remember is who was good to you, bro. You might forget everything else. Sometimes you might forget your own damn kid's name. Like your mom used to do. Steven, you know what I know. Your mom forget your own damn name. She the one who named you. Sometimes we forgetful, homie. But you can't forget that. You know what I'm saying to you? Trust me. So we're going to be doing a lot of healing over here, bro. Because we all need it, man. Ain't none of us perfect, bro. We all got some fucking issues. We don't even know. Fuck. My grandma just died a couple of weeks ago. I'm walking around like this shit ain't nothing. You know I'm crazy as fuck. You know this, bro. You know that shit. You know that. I caught one cry while I was walking to go get some trees. Remember I was at the court? And I walked down there to go get some trees from the Chinese. Go check my Chinese mans in Little China. Remember? Couldn't even hold it back, son. When I thought about my grandmother not being here to see me do this thing. Shed a tear, nigga, on live, nigga. I don't care, nigga. Give a fuck, nigga. So what, nigga? Don't match her, bro. You can still get that, nigga. You talking about folio? You fool. Stop being dumb, bro. Stop being dumb, bro. You know what I'm saying? We are humans, bro. It's okay, son. We go through a mixture of emotions. You can be happy and you can be mad and sad and every fucking thing else. You're just human, bro. It's okay. Like, it's the fuck okay, bro. Straight, man. Okay? Stop being AIs. Stop being robots. Salute to y'all, though. You know what I mean? Make sure that we are sparking the mind. Like Pac said, man. That's how I still always in my stream. Tupac said, I am not going to change the world, but I am going to spark the mind that does. Make sure you're sparking minds. I'm always trying to spark minds. I'm always sparking minds. That's what I do. I think about that thought every day that Pac said. Okay? Cool. Make sure you're sparking minds. May the men that's listening to my voice help a younger man, bro. Drop some jewels on them or something. May the women that's listening to my voice help a younger woman. Drop some jewels on them. Help them to not get into some of the things that we was into. And I don't want to conflate or mix the two. I don't want the men dealing with the women dealing with the boys. No. Okay? Y'all been raising kids and all that. The women, the men. Stop. We're not doing the weirdo thing. We're not doing it. Because a predator ain't got no gender. Okay? So we just going to Leave the women with the women and the men with the men, bro. That's it, bro. For right now, until we figure this shit out, bro. Sick. There's PDFs, all types of shit going on, nigga. We not mixing our spices, homie. Straight. Good. So, yeah. Make sure that you're doing the job. Highlight a motherfucking PDF today or tomorrow. I'm going to highlight a couple of PDFs, too. You know we're going to blow their asses up. Straight. We're going to highlight a couple of PDFs, too. Straight. We got to be doing the work. We got to be doing the work. You know what I'm saying? Might have to highlight a couple of PDF. I might have a PDF watch or some shit on this channel. PDF watch. You know what I mean? So you already know. You come over here. Oh, we got the PDF watch it, though. You might need to see what a PDF ain't. Might save a couple of people. Might be one or two, but we all doing our part, homie. We all doing our part. Okay? Salute. I'm doing mine, homie. On guard and gang, nigga. What? Don't let me bring the gang out. Just deal with my guard. Straight. Ooda, ooda, ooda. You already know. My niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rats. All my niggas from the Ooda. All my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rats. All my niggas turn shooters. Shooters on the road. On the internet. You ain't been a threat. You been stuck in a computer. Show me the proof. All my niggas turn shooters. All my niggas from the Ooda. Welcome to the Ooda. All my niggas from the Ooda. All my niggas turn shooters. Ooda, Ooda. All my ops turn rats. All my niggas turn shooters. Shooters on the road. On the internet. You ain't been a threat. You been stuck in a computer. Show me the proof. All my niggas turn shooters. All my niggas from the Ooda. Welcome to the Ooda. All of my niggas insane. They tryna catch a mistake. Young niggas putting in pain. It in the game, all for the game. Niggas ain't playing for nothing. Went in school, laying it bang. My little nigga kill my little nigga. Full-time job not to kill niggas. Jump off the porch of the field, nigga. You was in the house, I'm a field nigga. No fuck boys around real niggas. Been a drug dealer since a little nigga, huh? Taking a kilo, they'll kill a nigga. Fuck how you feel, nigga. To get some kilos, I'll kill a nigga too. Throw that rock like I'm Montana. Good head, raise my antennas. G49, not San Fran. Beat the box with my bandana. Then I dip set like I'm Santana. I'm in UK like that Montana. She bring me money, you press her. You got a jug and finesse her. I give a dick that'll change her life. You leave her change on the dresser. Shorty a wetty, a wetty. That pussy ready, get ready. Don't wanna get ahead of myself, but I want the head for the Getty. She said she fuck with the Ooda. I told her open a Chevy. All my niggas from the Ooda. All my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rats.